Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. I'm Nivedita Raja, your legal reasoning expert, and today we are going to start the last lap legal reasoning section, right? So in this entire series, you're going to be taught the most important and the most critical topics which students actually ignore while preparing. ये पूरी सीरीज लीगल की बाकी सारे सेक्शंस की सारे उन टॉपिक्स को कवर करेगी जो आपको लगता है इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है और आप छोड़ भी देते हैं, बहुत बुक्स में भी नहीं होता, लेकिन वो इम्पोर्टेंट हैं और वही आपको यहाँ पढ़ाए जाएंगे, राइट? गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन, हाउ आर यू ऑल? गुड इवनिंग, हाउ आर यू ऑल? हाय गाइस. Hey, what's up? So what's happening, my little apples and oranges? Exactly. Time and place questions don't often make sense because these seem like complicated topics, but they're not. They're not. ठीक है, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है ये टॉपिक्स. अगर पढ़ लिए जाए तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है, है ना? तो चलो शुरू करते हैं बिना टाइम वेस्टेज के. एवरीबडी लेट्स बिगिन. सो टाइम एंड प्लेस ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. थिंक लाइक दिस. लेट्स से दैट यू ऑर्डर समथिंग फ्रॉम Amazon. Okay, let's say that you order something from Amazon and the guy asks you, ma'am, where do you want it to be delivered? And you're like, dude, chill, deliver it at any place you want. यार एकदम chill कर, कहीं पे deliver कर दे. तुमने पेमेंट किया है, you have made the payment for that particular item and you are telling that guy to chill and asking him to deliver that item to any place at any time. So now this makes a contract absolutely unreasonable and impossible. If you have ordered an item, obviously you want that item either for yourself or for somebody else, राइट? तो आप चाहेंगे कि वो आइटम जिसके लिए ऑर्डर किया गया है वो उसके पास हो. यू वांट दैट आइटम टू बी डिलीवर्ड टू द पर्सन who is supposed to get it. It can be you, it can be other person, and that is why the determination of place is extremely important so that a contract can be performed properly. Now whatever you order online is a full-fledged contract, by the way. These are some very, very simple contracts that people get entered into at a usual course, in a usual way, in their day-to-day lives. Yes, exactly. It'll become vague and uncertain. So these are some little contracts that people enter into in day-to-day lives. They don't even realize that it is a legally binding contract, but it is, right? So whenever, whatever kind of a contract it is, the determination of place is extremely important, because whatever contract it is, it would have a certain promise. If you order something, the promise would be to deliver that item and to pay for that item. That is the promise. Now you can make the payment online. Okay, you can make the payment online or you can make it a cash on delivery product. But where the product needs to be delivered has to be clear and absolutely certain. Otherwise, the contract will not be performed. It cannot be performed. And that is why the determination of place is important. Where the contract is going to be performed, where do you want me to perform my part of the promise? You have ordered this item, you want your house to be painted, you want this, you want that. Where do you want it? Which house do you want to be painted? Where do you want your item or your dress or your perfume or whatever it is that you have ordered? I need to know that place, and that is what we call the place of performance. So the area or the address where the contract is performed is called the place of performance. Do you get it? Do you get it or not? And everyone. A kid can sue Amazon since it's a contract. A kid cannot enter into a contract. You do know that, right? An agreement by a kid is void ab initio. Understood? Yes or no, guys? Come on. Yep. Right. So this is place. Simple. Now, let's take this example only, the Amazon delivery example. What if that guy comes to deliver your product at 2 in the morning? What if that person comes to your place at 2 in the morning or at 5 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning? Would that be convenient for you? No, of course not. It will not be convenient for you. And that is doesn't matter, Drasik. Now it will not be convenient at all. So there has to be a reasonable time. So either you specify the time, or if you haven't specified the time, the promise will be performed at a reasonable time. So place has to be determined. There is no confusion about it. There can be no second thoughts about it. Place has to be determined. But if you have failed to mention the time during which the contract needs to be performed, you can perform it or allow it to be performed during reasonable business hours, which is 9 to 5. And that is the time when a contract can be performed if time is not mentioned. Time and place are extremely crucial when it comes to a contract. The uncertainty in time and uncertainty in place can actually make the entire contract impossible and void, because there's an element of uncertainty. If you fail to mention the place or if you fail to mention time, there becomes uncertainty in the contract, which the Contract Act does not allow. Your contract has to be absolutely clear in what it says. You cannot leave it to circumstances or God or destiny. We'll see what happens. Okay, so you enter into a contract with a painter to get your house painted, and then so you enter into a contract to get your house painted, and when the painter asks you for your address, you tell him, let's leave it to destiny. If it is meant to be, you will end up at my place. You just start walking in the alley with your eyes closed. The moment you feel like, oh my God, it's time for me to stop, you stop at that place. If it turns out to be the correct house, we'll get it painted. भाई ऐसे तो नहीं हो सकता कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. आंख बंद करके आना भाई, तू बिल्कुल सीधा गली में, और जब तुझे लगे कि हाँ मुझे इस घर के आगे रुकना है तो तू रुक जाना. और अगर डेस्टिनी की और ईश्वर की मर्जी होगी तो तू मेरे ही घर के सामने रुकेगा और फिर हम अपने घर को पेंट कर लेंगे. वाह 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 वाह. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. An uncertainty like this cannot be allowed in a contract. Got it? There are questions like, where is jurisdiction to sue? Do such questions come under the same thing? No. No. Not at all. ठीक है? Right. So it cannot be. That is why time and place are very important when it comes to a contract. Right. So let's understand it through an example. Although we have understood the entire thing through examples, इस example से तुमको समझ आ गया होगा, right? पर फिर भी उसको थोड़ा सा और clear कर लेते हैं. Let's not leave any scope of confusion, like a contract, right? So A promises to pay B rupees 10,000 in cash at his house within 6 months as the repayment of the loan he had taken from B. ठीक है? Now the thing is, मैं stand-up comedy. If I start stand-up comedy, who will teach you? तो मैं कौन पढ़ाएगा फिर? ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं है एक बार में एक ही चीज. मुझे भी अपनी लाइफ में अनसर्टेनिटी नहीं चाहिए. क्या मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ, क्या मैं कॉमेडी कर रही हूँ? नो, आई वांट टू बी कंप्लीटली क्लियर. ओके, आई वांट टू बी कंप्लीटली क्लियर इन व्हाट आई एम डूइंग. दैट इज व्हाई. गॉट इट? यस. हाँ, तो so now there is a promise from A that I would pay you cash at your place within 6 months, right? So the place is determined. The place is determined. The place is B's house, okay, where the payment or the promise is to be performed or the contract is to be performed. Now, the thing is, what about the time? How will the time be decided? The time will be decided according to the convenience of A and B. The example itself says it. Now, A leaves for work at 6 in the morning, which is when B returns home from his night shift job. So, the only time as per the circumstances where a contract can be performed is 6 in the morning. So, the place is already decided and we also arrive at a proper time, which is 6 in the morning according to the convenience of A. So if in case the time is not mentioned, like I told you, if in case the time is not mentioned, we can resort to the available options. One option is definitely during business hours. Whenever you make an order through Amazon or Myntra or any online portal, they always deliver during business hours, which is either morning or afternoon, because that is the time when at least somebody would be present at the house. That is the time when the contract can be performed without, causing any trouble to anyone. That is why business hours are taken into consideration. You can also specify the time. If you can specify the time, but if you have failed to specify the time, reasonable business hours is a way to go. The second option is the convenience. If there is a contract between two parties, okay, it is not between an online portal or anything, it is a contract between two parties. Now, one of the party has failed to express where the contract is to be performed. Now, what do you think? It would depend on the okay. Can you please focus on the class, everyone? Right, I am teaching something very important. Got it. So if a time is not business hours, if it cannot be performed during business hours, it has to be performed according to the convenience of both the parties. Now in this example, A can perform the contract during the day. Are you getting my point? Sorry, B can get the performance or can allow A to perform the contract during the day. But it is not possible for A to perform the contract during the day because he works. He can perform the contract at night, but it is not possible for B. Why? Because B works at night. So they would come at a convenient time, which is 6 in the morning, where the contract would be performed. The time where the contract would be performed. So this is how the time is determined. Okay, all these provisions are actually given in the Indian Contract Act. For the convenience of the parties, what can a party do? How can a party do that? Everything is given in the Indian Contract Act. So in case there is no application or no mention of time, one can resort to this mode. Business hours or convenience too. Right? So if a passage comes, you would see what is required. If time is mentioned, the contract would be performed at that particular time only. If the time is not mentioned, again, we have two options. We have already discussed these options. If I order from Mumbai and Amazon office is in Bangalore, what is the place of contract? The place would be the performance, the product, the place where the product gets delivered. That is the place of performance. Harsh. Okay. The office of Amazon is immaterial because the office is not delivering you anything per se. They're delivering it through their sellers. You understand the system of Amazon, right? They deal with sellers and they have a small warehouse. They have their stuff too, but they have sellers who have subscribed to Amazon and they sell through Amazon. The seller is required to send the item to your place and that would be the place of performance. Okay. Hence, the time and place for the performance of contract is 6 AM according to the convenience. Specified time ka concept hai. Yes. Specified or non-specified. If everything is, the problem comes when nothing is specified. If everything is specified, I will perform the contract or I will paint your house on Monday and I'll start from 6 and I'll end at 4. Now everything is clear in this. So there is no scope of ambiguity. The problem arises when there is no specification. Time and place are not specified. Now what do you do? That is where the problem occurs, and that is why there are such provisions. Now, yes, if in a contract, the promisee is not required to make an application, but the promisor needs to perform the contract only on a particular day, then the promisor should perform the promise during regular business hours, unless the time is specified in the contract too. So when you order, the classic example of this is ordering something. Whenever you order something, there is hardly a portal that would ask you for your time. Which time would you like that item to be delivered? We're not talking about conclusion where the contract is concluded. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about performance only, Ishan. Don't get confused, right? So if one is not required to specify the time, the contract is to be performed during regular business hours. So whenever you order any item from any online portal, I don't think except Amazon, there's any online portal that asks you what time is convenient for your delivery. You're not asked it, but somehow they always manage to send the item to you, and they always deliver during the day, not at night, because during the day somebody or the other is always available at the house or at your place, right? So if you're not required to specify the time, if the contract is such that there is no specification of time, you're not required, you're not asked, then the contract automatically would concise itself to the regular business hours. Got it? Anybody, any doubt whatsoever till now? Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. किसी को कोई भी डाउट है अभी तक? If you have any doubt, let's solve it right now. Okay, good. Now read the example. A, X promises to deliver certain goods to Y on payment of an advance of 5,000, right? Now Y makes the payment and asks X to deliver the goods on Sunday. Now, since time is not specified, X should deliver it between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. assuming those are the regular business hours in the place they live. Right? बहुत आसान, it's very easy. Now, no application to be made, but the place of performance is not specified. So, imagine a contract where the promisee is not required to specify the place for the performance of contract. Right? The time is not applied for and the place is also unspecified. Now, when we talk about no application, it doesn't mean that you're writing a full-fledged application, dear sir, to and so, subject, etc. No, application in simple words means specification. Have you specified it? Have you applied for it? Same thing. So, don't get confused. Now, in such a scenario, if time and place of performances is not specified by the promisee, it is the duty of the promisor. Promisor is the person who performs the promise. It is the duty and the responsibility of the promisor to ask the promisee about the time and place. What time do you want it to be performed? What place would you like it to be performed? So asking this, inquiring about this, removing this ambiguity completely becomes the responsibility of the promisor. Right? So, in simple words, the person who is supposed to perform the contract has to make sure that he knows the time and place for performance also. If it is not given to him, if it is not specified to him, it is his duty to inquire about it, to know what time and place is the performance, or the time and place of performance. Got it? I got confused, but I made everything clear. Reciprocal promises. A promises B. A promises something to B. B promises something to A. I will give you my TV if you give me your fridge. B says yes. So the promise is reciprocal. That is in simple words. Got it? Yes. Example, Peter promises to deliver 5 television sets to John on a fixed day and time. However, the contract does not mention an address. Now, it is Peter's responsibility because it is Peter who is going to deliver the televisions, right? So, it is Peter's responsibility to ask. Apply here simply means ask. So, it is Peter's responsibility to ask John. More like, yes, barter system is more like a reciprocal promise. Promises are generally reciprocal in nature if both parties are performing something. Like Peter is delivering 5 television sets, so he is required to work for a certain in that contract. So it is like a performance where John is only paying, is just giving the money. There's no significant performance on his part, and that is why it is not a reciprocal promise. हाँ, प्लेस नहीं पता होगा, एग्जैक्टली यही तो, प्लेस नहीं पता होगा तो कहाँ जाएगा? तो प्लेस पता लगाने का काम किसका है? डिलीवरी बॉय का. गॉट इट? प्लेस पता लगाने का काम भी फिर डिलीवरी बॉय का ही है. सो इफ Peter does not, John fails to mention the time and address. Since Peter is delivering, he has promised that I would deliver you 5 television sets. It is his responsibility to ask John to set a reasonable place and a reasonable time where he can safely accept the delivery of the goods and where Peter can very conveniently deliver the goods also. Got it? So it becomes the responsibility of the person who is performing the contract to make sure that time and place is clear in his head. If not specified, go ask. Right? Don't assume. Got it? Yes. Moving on. Performance as prescribed by the promisee. There can also be a contract where the promiser agrees to perform the promise in a manner and at a place and time prescribed or sanctioned by the promisee. Sometimes the situation so happens where the time and place are not really specified and everything is left on the promisee only. For example, let's say that A took some money from B. Okay, now A says, dude, after 6 months, you name the time and place. I will come to that place at the time that you decide and I will give you your money after 6 months. Now, B can appoint any place or time in order to take the money, right? So, some things are left right on the day of performance to be specified and the discretion is given to a promisee. Got it? So John's son, this is again an example. John's son is in the hospital. He needs money for his son's operation. Peter owes money to John and agrees to repay him in cash check at any place or time decided by John. Simple. In this case, John has the liberty to ask for the performance of the promise in any manner and at any time suited to him. Because the discretion to decide the time and place is completely left to John. So it becomes John's volition to decide where and when he wants the money. Nahi, void nahi hua. You know, void, if contract does not become void unless and until it is impossible to perform. If the ambiguity can be removed, the contract becomes valid. If there is no chance of removing that ambiguity, then contract becomes void. Got it? There's nothing in this Shrestha. What I'm saying is simply, sometimes the discretion to decide the time and place of performance is left on the promisee, the one who is seeking the performance. So the promiser agrees that whatever time and place the promisee would decide, that would become the time and place of performance and of contract. So in these kinds of contracts, whatever the promisee says becomes the area in which the contract would be performed at whatever times that he specifies. Simple. So there cannot be a negotiation in this regard. If the discretion is left to the promisee will decide anything and the contract would be performed there only. Right? There cannot be a negotiation. Yeah, it is too far for me. Please come in the midway. No. So that cannot happen. You left the discretion or you left the choice, freedom of choice to the promisee. Now, even if you have to travel 10 kilometers extra, you would have to do it because you gave that option to the promisee. Got it? Yes. So that is it for today. I hope everything is clear. Is there any doubt whatsoever? Hurry up. Good. So this is time and place of performance. Very, very complicated topic. Seems like a complicated topic, but it is not. Right? So I hope it is clear. Remember it. A topic like this can come in your exam straight away. This is something the students usually ignore. But I know that it is important, and that's why you are being taught this. Right? So these are the 26 power packed sessions. Upcoming sessions are on 21st May by Ankur sir. It's on arithmetic, refreshing the basics. My session, the next session would be day after, which is 22nd, and it would be on revocation of offer and acceptance. Again, very, very important and very difficult and complex topic. Right? So every complex, difficult topic will be taught to you in the most easy manner so that you can remember it forever. Right? Right. So everybody take care. That's it. Shahi in the class, please. Not the time. So on 23rd, KD sir is going to revise the CR concepts, the structure of the argument. Then on 24th May, KD sir would discuss with you the importance of time management in CLAT and which section you are required to focus upon more. 25th May, again, KD sir will revise the assumption-based questions, right? So this is the schedule for the upcoming sessions. All these sessions are conducted at 8 p.m. only. Right, all these 26 power packed sessions are conducted at 8 p.m. So everybody, I shall see you again very soon. Take care. तब तक के लिए अपना ख्याल रखिए. Good night. Do like the session, share the session and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Do not forget to join us for CLAT 22 live analysis with top faculties and ALIT live analysis with top faculties on June 26. Subscribe the channel, follow us at BYJU'S Exam Prep Law. Like us on Facebook. You can join our Telegram channel also, which is BYJU'S_Exam Prep_CLAT. And you can also download the app from the Google Play. Take care, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.